recall that?
Yeah, a friend of mine from Georgia, Joe Lene, was a friend of his dad's, and Jason came up and he brought his music. He was had a group called Young Guns.
We were pretty badass there.
And just so we know who everybody is, by the way, this is Chris Barr, who handles day management for Spalding Entertainment. This is Kevin Neal, agent over at Buddy Lee Attractions. We have Rick Shedd from Broken Bow Records, and the legendary Clarence Spalding here on the end. You got to watch him, man. So go ahead.
So I met him and you know, listened to his music and told him he needed to be up here. You know, you've got to be up here. It's hard to break out from Middle Georgia, from Macon. So, you know, luckily he met Michael and Michael got him up here.
Yeah, I asked you when we talked earlier about how many people have you given that advice to? You need to come to Nashville and try to make it work.
A lot. I mean, you can't. It's difficult, and there are artists that have you know, broken, not being in Nashville, but very few. You've got to get here, get woven into the system.
But usually it ends there, I guess, and you don't have a whole lot of interaction with them, and very seldom does it break to the level of see this thing happen.
Right. And with Jason, I think I went to about 10 showcases everywhere around town to see him play, and never could get why record labels didn't get him.
I heard he did like 40 showcases. Does that sound right to you?
At least, yeah. I mean, we played showcases for. I got so tired of playing showcases. I mean, we ran the gamut on every venue in Nashville. We were like trying to change it up, you know, and play. Maybe if we have it here, more people will come, you know. And it just got to the point where, you know, you just start getting frustrated. I mean, you got record labels and people that are supposed to come out and, yeah, we'll be there, and then nobody shows up, and you're just like, you know, you've wasted all this time. And it's a really frustrating deal, and we did, I would say 40 easy, you know, probably even more if I had to guess. But yeah, that's a pretty good number.
Was it hard to just keep getting motivated and keep thinking maybe this will be the one, and I'm sure you take every little bit of positive news as best you can.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you try to stay optimistic and hope that, you know, every day is going to be the day, you know, that something happens, and, you know, and it's tough. I mean, you can only be positive for so long before you finally just start going, man, am I just out of my mind chasing this thing? What's going to happen? And, you know, you try to stay positive, but it's tough. I mean, after a while of getting door after door slammed in your face, it's pretty hard to wake up with a good attitude the next day, you know.
Of course, he had a deal on Capitol that went away. So.
And you never heard anything about it because it did not work out very well. So, no, actually, what happened with that deal was my producer, Michael, had brought me to town, and the first thing he wanted to do was get in the studio and cut a couple of songs and start, you know, pitching it around to some record companies. And so I moved to town in November of '98, and in December of '98, a rep from MCA, a guy named Larry Willoughby, came over to the studio and heard what we were doing and wanted to sign me. He goes, yeah, you know, after the first of the year, you know, I want to get something together, bring you over to our roster. And I was like, great, man, I've been here a month. This is awesome. I should have moved here 5 years ago. And so the first of the year rolled around, and Decca Records actually shut down, and MCA absorbed all those acts. So that kind of went away, and then Larry left later that year and went over to Capitol, and I ended up signing a deal with Capitol Records and was there for about a year and never recorded a song, never recorded one song over there. So most people don't even know that I had a deal over there, but yeah, I did have a deal pretty quick after moving to town. It just didn't amount to much.
Did you consider changing what you do and how you do it, or were you pretty confident in your musical vision that people would dug it if enough people heard it?
Well, I think in the early days, I think the problem was I did try to change and kind of conform to what I thought Nashville wanted, you know, what I could do that would get me a record deal the quickest, and didn't necessarily stick to the things that I had done in the past. And that was kind of a promise I made to myself after I ended up getting dropped from Capitol Records, was just, you know, from there on out I was going to do things my way. And it was like if people liked it, cool, and if they didn't, cool. But at least it was going to fail on my terms if it didn't work. And so that was kind of when I made a promise to myself that I was, gonna cut songs the way I wanted to, cut the kind of songs I wanted, and not try to become something that I thought everybody wanted me to be. Because it's easy to fall into that trap, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot do. Tell me about when Broken Bow got wind of Jason, and then when he showcased for you guys. Showcases, see, they pay off.
That's right. Well, Benny Brown is the owner of Broken Bow, and he had heard about Jason from a few people, and but he wanted to see Jason live, so they arranged a show, and I wasn't there, so I don't know the entire story, but they set up a showcase at the Wild Horse, because he wanted to see him perform and just see what his stage presence was like, and saw him and loved him, and I think at that point is when they started having a conversation about signing.
So you guys signed him pretty quickly after that, right?
I believe so. It's pretty quick, right, Joe?
Yeah, the deal got offered, within the next week after the showcase. But the deal being offered and actually signing the deal, that's a completely different ballgame. You get offered the deal and you're like, yeah, that sounds great. And then, you go through about 8 months of paperwork trying to get a record deal finalized. And in the meantime, you're looking for songs for your record, that kind of thing. But yeah, the deal was offered that next week. And then I believe that was in the summer of 2003, 2004. Well, actually, yeah, because I actually signed the deal in 2005, so that would have been right. So yeah, so it was 04.